Well, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the fourth topic of the day. We are doing very, very good. I'm proud of everybody, and that is more DC news. We're moving over from Netflix and Sony to DC Warner Brothers, going back to 2000. Was it 16? I think it was Batman v Superman. We got the writer complaining, saying that they sabotaged my movie, and he pissed because the Snyder Cut is getting all this attention, and he's like, I want some attention too. Yeah. So I'm especially excited to hear what Eman has to say. But that brings us to topic number 4, and I got the report right here from Screen Rant. It says Batman v Superman theatrical release was sabotaged by Warner Brothers Cuts, says writer. Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice screenwriter Chris Terrio says Warner Brothers sabotaged the DC film by cutting 30 minutes off of his runtime. And I'm going to come to Elliot first this time. I have the quote right here from Chris Terrio. If you took 30 minutes out of Argo, as they were from Batman v Superman, it would make 0 sense at all. Critics would say, what a lazy screenplay, because the characters don't have motivations and it's not coherent. And I would agree with them. Elliot, how are you feeling about this, man? You think Chris Terrio is telling the truth, or you think he just blowing smoke and wants some attention?
No, there's something to be said about that, because I think just in the zeitgeist, whenever Zack Snyder's, for example, whenever we heard about his film not getting his vision out there, we forget that there was another person that wrote that film, which was Chris Terrio. And in any case of that matter, where there's studio meddling and we always go straight to the director, their vision not being told, but there was someone, or sometimes obviously the director is the writer as well, but a lot of the times there's a writer that gets their work butchered and their name could be dragged in Hollywood, like, oh, that person wrote that film, and that film, they have a bad track record because we always hear their film's not playing out right due to studio meddling. And I think Chris Terrio, an Oscar-winning movie like Argo, going into BVS. And then another thing that kind of sucks for him is Star Wars. He had his Star Wars movie. Allegedly, there's the J.J. Abrams cut, and there was a little bit more to the story and things that they want to play out. But obviously, we know that film, number one, Disney's handling of Star Wars was kind of messy in the first place, but that film was affected. So again, I don't know if I'm a studio, I'm looking at Chris Terrio's name and hearing all the stuff and the baggage that might have came with his previous films and being kind of chopped up. It kind of puts a kind of a bad reputation on his name. So I kind of understand where he's coming from with these films being butchered and his name being attached to it. And we're not getting not only the director's full vision, but how things were going to play out on a writing standpoint. So there's a lot to be said with Mr. Chris Terrio's kind of criticism of his films and his writing being kind of chopped in half.
Larry?
I think he needs a good Netflix deal where they can let him go ahead.
Just let him run around.
Right. Yeah. Let him go ahead and put out a 3.5-hour movie to get the full character development that he wants and see what he can do. Sometimes I really feel like you need to let people have that creative freedom to really see what they can do. Because there's something to be said about, chopping up people's movies so they fit in a nice box when people we want it under 2 hours, or or we want to take certain things out so that we can make it PG-13 or just, there's some things that should not be removed from movies. Like when you look at that script, when you read that script as an executive, if you like what you're reading, make that movie. Don't start saying, oh, well, we need to put this and that in there. We need to take this out of there because we want to sell more movie tickets to 12-year-olds and sell merchandising. No, then make a different movie. Don't make this movie. Don't buy this script. Buy a different one from somebody else,
Yep.
But
go ahead.
That's it, really. I hope the brother comes out with a different movie. I hope he comes out and really gets his chance to shine. And does it right,
Well, he did get the extended cut, which was better, as we all know. But Eman, what you got, man?
I think Chris Terrio is a terrible writer. I don't think he's all that good. I thought he did a really good job with Argo, but I think more of the success of Argo was in the directing rather than the writing. But we've seen this man have a chance. We've seen the extended edition. We've seen the Snyder cut. Bro, you're not good. You got lucky with one script. You're not that good. And I'm sorry, those extra minutes, yes, it made a more, cohesive story, but it still had problems. You still had corny crap in the entire movie. So in both movies at that, BVS and in Justice League, Snyder cut, whatever you want to do. The 30 minutes wasn't going to save nobody. And right now it's just easy. It's so easy to jump and blame the WB execs. I agree that they deserve probably the bulk of any criticism, with DC for the, time being. But bro, you still wasn't all that good either. Like, even when you got your shot, you still didn't deliver like A+ quality work. So miss me with all this stuff. Like, I agree that yes, anybody is going to be upset if you have your work edited or chopped up, and they did butcher his stuff. But let's not act like that's not part of the industry either. That is literally what happens every single movie. Nobody is given free reign to do a 4-hour movie. Like, that's just not what happens. And yes, what happened with Batman v Superman, they dropped the ball. It's that simple. You have the two most popular characters in fiction and pop culture, and y'all dropped the ball. I'm sorry, them 30 minutes wasn't going to save nothing. So
I'll tell you what they did do with that, though. That they because they dropped the ball so bad with Superman and Batman, it did allow Wonder Woman to shine.
It did.
It was important because people were excited to see her when her movie came. So I mean, the fact that they screwed that up worked wonders for Wonder Woman.
That is true.
I agree with all of you. I'm leaning more towards Eman, but I still agree with all of you to some degree. However, I wonder if I am confident that Warner Brothers right now would still want to proceed with Zack Snyder's vision if they would have got their original vision for BVS and he would have got his original vision for Justice League. Because Man of Steel for me is off the chain. And I remember when I walked out of BVS, I was like, this is about a 5.5. And then when I saw the extended cut, I was like, okay, now I think it's about a 7.5. And with Man of Steel being better than that, in my subjective opinion, and then I still think the Justice League Snyder cut is amazing. I really do love that movie. We all know that it wouldn't really be 4 hours, but I still think it's a great film. You can look at his Snyderverse and be like, those are 3 good films. At the very least, is a 7.5 out of 10. But that's just me, though. That's just my feelings.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch Man of Steel again, BA, because you guys keep referencing it like it is.
Steel is not bad. It's not bad at all.
I just feel like the bar was so low that I mean,
bro. I remember when I walked out the theater, when I saw that, I was calling my friends on the phone like, bro, this is some of the best action I've ever seen. Now I said action. I didn't say whole movie. It was some of the best action I've ever seen. It was exhausting. It was so much, but I'd rather have more than less, and be let down. I was like, damn, y'all ain't tired yet? I guess you're Kryptonian, so no. Right. But just with the way they actually had Superman snap his neck. Superman has never done that before, but he had a valid reason, and it was so controversial. It didn't make sense to me how Lois and Superman met in the Fortress of Solitude. That still is like a big gaping plot hole to me. Nothing is perfect though. But yeah, Chris Terrio, like Eman was saying, this is easy. I do wish that he could have got his vision, but at the same time, that's not just gonna be a complete 180 as far as his talent is concerned, but that's just me. That is just me.